style, sell with Sue. It's your move.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of No Place Like Home, where I talk about some Calgary real estate and things you should know as a buyer or a seller, or just someone who's interested in the real estate market and what goes on behind the scenes. Thank you for joining me today. I'm really glad that you're here. And I really believe you're going to get something good out of this episode today, because today I'm going to talk to people who are thinking of selling their home. So I've got three good points, and I'm going to start with some fun facts. I did a little Google search and I thought, what would be some fun facts that are out there that people are talking about? Fun fact number one: do you know on average, a home buyer only visits a property one or two times before buying it? Isn't that crazy? The market is quick. You are going and seeing a house one time and maybe writing an offer. Now, right now in Calgary, it has slowed down a little bit. So there's certainly time for a second viewing. But the interesting thing is, when my clients come in for a second showing, they always say, "Oh, I didn't even notice this the first time. Oh, this is even better than before." Or maybe they saw something that changes their mind the second time. So I was surprised to see that on average, home buyers only visit a property one to two times. Fun fact number two: buyers are spending more time online researching than ever before. And although this is a fun fact statistic, sometimes it's not fun when buyers, you are looking up and getting research that's not quite right. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. The problem is you never know when. There's lots of big AI companies now, and they pull information from all kinds of sources. So yes, you're getting more information. But for example, on a property that some buyers just took possession on, early on in the process, when we saw this house, the girl came to me and she said, "Hey, I saw online that this house just sold 2 years ago for a certain amount of money, which was much lower than it had been listed for." Well, it wasn't true. The house didn't sell for that certain amount of money. And so AI just pulls information from all kinds of sources, and sometimes it isn't true. So, although buyers are online and sellers too, more than ever before, and you're doing your research, you do have to be careful, and please run all your information by somebody in the industry who can double check and fact check for you. And number three, virtual tours for the first time in history, or a virtual tour, or having someone just do a walkthrough when the client's not there physically, a video walkthrough, sometimes serves as a first visit. Like this morning, I was just out in a new property a colleague of mine listed, and it's fantastic. And I took some videos and I'm going to post it. That could serve like a first time virtual tour for someone if they were interested in that property. And I think most realtors, myself included, we've had clients who are moving here from the east, from the west, and they're not, here at a moment's notice. So we'll just go, we'll FaceTime with them, do a virtual tour before they come to town, should they come to town, and fly in and get their feet in the door. And of course, occasionally people do buy properties just by seeing it virtually or on a video call. Yeah, interesting. Hey, but let's talk specifically if you're thinking of selling a home coming up in the next few months or this year. I mean, there's tons of things sellers need to know, certainly. But without being redundant or too generic, I want to give three really important things for you to think about if you're thinking of selling your home. Number one, as soon as you think you might sell your home within a year, please go around every spot with a fine-tooth comb, because when you list, first impressions count so much. As you know, I just said, fun fact, buyers may only come and see your home once. So make sure everything is taken care of. And that includes any little fixes. So if you have a little bit of, lots of times in a master ensuite shower, there's dirt and grime that has lingered under the Schluter or plastic in those doors. At the front hall, maybe there's corners that you haven't touched for a long time, closets that need little repairs. So do start doing your repairs. And if you need someone for repairs, reach out to me. I have lots of resources. Keep your eyes open. You know, when you live in a house, it's all normal to you. And so sometimes when we don't take care of a problem, we stop seeing that problem. You know, it's just something that we live with. So keep your eyes open for, look up in your bathrooms. Are there any ceiling stains? Look in your basement on the ceiling. Has there been any leakage from kitchens or bathrooms above? Do you have any moisture streaks, especially in the bathroom? I see this, occasionally, and you might not notice them, but take a look at your walls. Do they need to be cleaned, even repainted? And don't ignore your mechanical room. I know, if you're not a mechanical person, or you don't work in HVAC or water systems or electrical, you might not enjoy visiting your mechanical room all the time. But when an inspector comes on behalf of the buyer, they're going to spend some time looking in your mechanical room. So, how is your panel looking? Are things clean and tidy? Are there any stains, on connections at your hot water tank? How old is your furnace? How is it looking? When was it last serviced? Do you have that information there? And just take a look and be careful to present your home in a presentable fashion. And take the time to create your home so that it looks presentable, even in the mechanical room. So that's number one. That'll could take weeks, it could take months to work on just the first thing. Number two, I just want to talk a little bit about marketing. Recently, I shared a listing that's in my own neighborhood, and I thought, hey, who wants to come and live a stone's throw for me? Let's become friends. And I posted this nice listing, but it's true that the pictures, they did look a little bit overexposed or enhanced or something. But I mean, I see lots of housing pictures all the time. So I posted it, I put a few pictures up. And do you know, another agent, a friend of mine from another city, reached out and he was like, Sue, what's up with those pictures? They look terrible. Now, since I'm used to seeing all kinds of pictures all the time, I didn't really judge them. But good reminder to me and you, sometimes realtors will take their own pictures of interior spaces or houses. These do not show your property well. Sometimes, and maybe this realtor took some, they were especially on the exterior photos, and then they, doctor them up when they don't really know what they should be doing. So you want professional pictures to help market your home. It tells a story. And then in your write-up, I know a lot of agents are just putting in the details into Chat GPT, and bada bing, bada boom, it sounds like every other write up. I like to take some time and actually mention the things that buyers might not be able to see. You might not have to describe that it has granite counters and stainless steel appliances, but you might want to describe that there's in-floor heating, that windows have recently been replaced, that you have a EV charger, things that are valuable that maybe you can't see. So make sure you're talking when we're doing the write up for listing your house. Make sure you remember you're talking to a buyer who might be paying a lot of money for this house. And while we're talking about the write ups, a lot of things get missed sometimes. So make sure when your home is being listed and the write-up is being done, you will, as the seller, will have a chance to review everything. So things like if you're in a condo, specific things about restrictions in your condo. Are pets allowed in your condo? What kind of pets, if so? Any extra information really helps to sell your property. So you want to really be as thorough and detailed as possible. And then the third thing I'm going to quickly mention, because it comes up all the time, is the smell in your home. Now, I'm sure your home smells beautiful, like fresh flowers in bloom. And that is wonderful and inviting. However, if you have pets, if you have young children, if you have older folks, if you cook wonderful spicy foods, any kind of extreme smell can turn off another person. So if a potential buyer is coming into your house, here's the thing. It's been scientifically proven that smells bypass your executive center and they go right into the back of your brain, into your emotions. And so there's no chance for a person coming in to rationalize or explain away the smells. The smells go right back and give us an emotional reaction. So last week I showed a home and it was a very nicely renovated home, but I have to admit it smelled like I would guess animal pee. And the problem is when my potential buyers were walking through, they don't know where the smell is coming from. Have the animals been peeing on the carpets? Is it into the wood, the flooring? Where is the smell coming from? And they did not write an offer on that house. So make sure your smells, that you're conscious of them. And you know what's kind of nice is in your bathrooms. Of course, I know they're going to be clean, but just put a little drop of bleach in the toilet. Just a hint, not too much, please. But so when a person walks into the washroom and they just have a hint of bleach, what their emotions are telling them is, hey, this place has been cleaned, it's sterile, the people are taking care of this house. Now, if you're selling, I also just want to make sure you know there are going to be some costs associated with the sale. Sellers, you're always excited about the profits and the equity you're going to be getting back out of your home. But remember, there are a couple of things and maybe some unexpected things you might have to pay for, such as a real property report, your RPR. If you have added in a air conditioner because it's been hot, if you have erected a fence that is new, if you have redone a deck and it's different at all from your last deck, you need an updated real property report. So make sure that you have a really good look, have your realtor look at it so they can assure you, yes, this is included, or no, we're going to need to get a new one, because those can cost, close to $1,000. Another thing you might need to put some money aside for are those repairs. Even professional cleaning. What a relief when you don't have to professionally clean your own house. Hey, put that in the budget. That's a bonus tip from me. You also might decide to pay for some staging. I know I'm getting ready to list a house right now, and this is a couple that is totally downsizing. So their room furniture is very sparse and it's very eclectic because they're just saving the special things that are important to them. In this case, it is going to be worth the money for them to hire a stager. We might only do it for the kitchen area and the living room so that when people walk in, they enjoy what they're seeing and they can imagine themselves there. Sellers, if you've lived in the house for a while and you're suspicious some things might need repair, you might want to pay for a home inspection before you list it on the market, which is a great added value for any buyers coming to look that you've already had it inspected. But that'll put your mind at ease and make sure that you repair anything that's really outstanding. You also want to allocate some money for maybe professional packing, moving, lawyers' fees. Go ahead, call some lawyers, find out how much they would charge for the size of your house, for the price of your house, that whole moving fee. And of course, realtor commissions. Those almost always come out of the selling side. So you want to put that into your budget as well. And just so that you can imagine from the other side, from the buyers, put yourself in their shoes for a minute. When they walk into your home, what they're asking themselves is, can I imagine myself here? Can I make this a home for myself and my family? Will we fit here? And depending on the skills of the buyers, if it doesn't look like exactly what they're hoping for, they won't be able to put an offer. Different people have different skills and experiences. Some can take just a floor plan and imagine, vision how they could renovate it. Other people, they need to see it and imagine themselves there. So this is a really one really big reason why you want to for sure totally declutter of any personal items. Take your awards off the walls, your family pictures down, so that someone can come in and that's not a block for them. You want them to imagine their own family there, their own awards displayed. And if they see other people, sometimes it can clog up their mind. That's a really good reason to have a stager come in and help you, or even to hire a stager who will bring in furnishings and just help it feel more like what you want those buyers to feel when they come in. And hey, seller, where are you moving to? Now, I know you're going to take your things and move into your next home. And I had the pleasure of talking to a client who is a psychologist. She has her own practice. And I was asking her, what is the best way to make your house feel like your home? What is it that people want? And she's done a beautiful job on her own home. So we had a fun time talking about all kinds of things. But I was going to mention just one thing to really create a home that you are going to feel comfortable in and for your family. And she said the key to that is congruence, conscious congruence, to be aware of your own internal values. And those values get expressed in your home. You know, everyone knows our space is an expression of ourselves. Well, your home for sure. And sometimes what helps people to feel settled in right away is to be able to be congruent and express their values in their home, to put those things that are important to them in the right place that feels right. And think of your children when it comes to this as well. If they have their own space in their bedrooms where they can create their own feeling of belonging by having their space, represent them in their own uniqueness, that can really help them feel at home and, just feel accepted for being who they are. I, I remember one time, so I'm the oldest of three. And we lived for a little while in this condo, a 3 bedroom. So my mom had 1 bedroom, and then she was doing some cleaning, some spring cleaning, and she wanted to move us kids around. And I remember her saying that my sister was going to get her own bedroom because she was so clean and she really enjoyed having her things organized. Whereas I was a little more like, just throw it over here and I don't care so much what it looks like. I just want to be relaxed. And she told me, Susan, I think you're going to share this bigger room with your brother because Tammy, she takes care of her stuff so well. And honestly, I can remember feeling like, yeah, I got that. I get what you're saying. Um, she deserves her own room. No problem. It was thank you. Just thank you for letting me be who I am. So if you can let your kids do that in their rooms, they'll really appreciate that too. Now, I popped on when I was doing some research, and I found a McLean's article on why millennials won't leave home. So we're having a big issue with boomerang kids and kids that won't leave home. And their statistics said close to a third of people between the age of 25 and 29 are still living at home, compared to only 11% in 1981. So I graduated in 1984. And I'll tell you, me and my sister, we were like, yay, we can graduate. Let's fly. Let's go be free. We'll get a job. We get our own place, or we get some roommates. That is not happening as much now. We have something called a late launch. And this McLean's article talked about it being due to helicopter parenting, the economy. I mean, all of the reasons. So, anyways, just interesting to think about nowadays how the generations have changed. And your children might be living at home longer than you had hoped. Well, those are my top tips for sellers in a nutshell. And today I also have a great recommendation for you. I had coffee with the owner of a newer company called Film and Life. Although it's a newer company, she is not a new service provider. She's been creating videos, professional quality for many years, over a decade for sure. But we were talking about the memories of older family. And, someone gets dementia and we all have a story about that. And then we lose the stories of the grandparents, the great grandparents. And she's got a company that is capturing these stories for generations to come. And they have done a number of things for funerals when family members are not all in the same city, just capturing stories about the recently deceased in a way that the family can keep it forever digitally. And so I am going to shout out Film and Life, filmandlife.com. And if you have parents, grandparents still around and you want to capture their stories, I highly recommend go to their website and have a look. And as usual, I'm not getting paid for this recommendation, so it's on the up and up. And as always, these podcasts are on the house, so I hope you got some interesting info today. If I can help you sell your house, reach out and I'll take it from there. It's your move. Bye for now.